Okay, before we get started, let me show my t-shirt. Because you can't see it now. Anyway, hello, thank you for joining me. I can hear myself in my ear, and it's kind of throwing me off. Anyway, let's chat about Pokemon. There might be some noise in the background. I'll try and cut out the loud parts. I've got a few different props with me for the ASMR. I'm talking about Pokemon Generation 4, which is Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, and Soul Silver. And my main point is the flaws of that generation, and in particular Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Basically, Platinum is the only game where you can catch them all. Gotta catch them all. I'm just gonna talk as if you know everything. And if you don't, then, whatever. I thought about putting pictures and stuff, but no, nobody cares that much. So, the Pokemon selection is curious in those games because in Generation 4 they introduced new evolutions to older Pokemon like Mamoswine, Gliscor, Frostlass, etc. They introduced a huge chunk of these evolutions to older Pokemon, and yet in these games you can't catch or evolve these Pokemon, the majority of them, which is very strange to me. Now, in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, those games are remakes of Gen 2, Crystal Gold and Silver. So I can understand maybe they wanted to keep the games traditional and not add new Pokemon that were not available in those games. But some of this problem actually is in those games too, because in Generation 2 there's a whole new bunch of Pokemon, right? And a chunk of those cannot be caught easily in the games either. And I don't remember which ones exactly. I think it's Weavile and Houndour. Or maybe Weavile is the evolution. But that one, the first form of that. And Houndour can only be caught in Kanto. But you're playing the game in Johto. Why would they leave a new Pokemon until after you've finished the game? Because I want to catch the Pokemon and have it in my journey in Johto. Johto Pokemon in Johto. Like that. That's just common sense, right? And then they could have fixed this in the remakes in Generation 4. And they just made it worse because they added all these evolutions. So they've got all these really cool Pokemon. Some of the best in the series, like Yanmega, Gliscor, Mamoswine, Togekiss. And you can't use these. And I just don't understand. You can get some of them, like in Heart Gold, Soul Silver. You can get Yanmega. What else? I know that you can't get Honchkrow or Mismagius. You can get the first forms, but then you can't get the evolution stone that it needs. And that's the same for Togetic and the evolutions. You can get the ones that evolve by ancient power. So that is Mamoswine, Tangrowth, and those are the main two. And Yanmega. I think that's all. And I don't get it. So now I'm playing Pokemon Platinum. But luckily for me, I have my 3DS here. And I have my regular DS here. So what I am able to do is trade between the games. Just trading with myself. So I can, in Pokemon Platinum, I have finished the game. So I'm able to get all the requirements for these evolutions. I can get the Pokemon and the stones and items and trading and all that shit that you need. So I'm planning to play Heart Gold, or I'm planning to play Soul Silver in Johto, and I am preparing my team in Platinum, and then I will trade them over so that I can use these original Johto Pokemon. But I have to get them over in Sinnoh in Platinum first and trade them over. Then play Soul Silver with the Johto Generation 2 Pokemon and evolve them into their new Generation 4 evolutions. Yeah. And it's just stupid. It's really stupid that they brought these new Pokemon into Generation 4 in like 2006 or 2007. I think that's when those games came out, approximately. And I remember even back then, I was really excited to use some of these Pokemon. And it just didn't happen. In Diamond and Pearl, you can use Honchkrow and Mismagius. Oh, by the way, this is just how I pronounce the names. You probably pronounce them differently. Not much I can do about that. Yeah, so you can get the ghost and the bird. And in Platinum, you can get Togekiss because you get the Togepi egg. But you get a Togepi egg in Soul Silver too, but you can't evolve it to the final form. And it's, like I said, it doesn't make any sense. So that is why when I play, I will be getting that Togepi egg, and then I will trade over a Pokemon holding a shiny stone so that I can evolve my Togetic into Togekiss and then use it for the final gyms and the Elite Four. Now, I know that there's a large chunk of the game in Kanto, so maybe they wanted you to have more to enjoy in Kanto. But the bulk of the story is before that. And I want to have my cool final form Pokemon to enjoy before the post game, you know? Like, once you get to Kanto, it's not that exciting anymore. The region doesn't have a lot to offer. So, I want my team to be fully formed at that point. I don't want to be running around trying to evolve a Yanma into Yanmega and evolve my Murkrow and Misdreavus and all the rest. There's some Kanto Generation 1 Pokemon evolutions too. Magmar, Electabuzz, Rhydon, Polygon 2, is that what it's called? They can all evolve. And you can get their items in the post-game or in Pokemon Platinum. Even in Platinum, I think you need to be in the post-game to get some of these items, like the Magmarizer. And I'll say it again, I just think it's really stupid. And that is my point of discussion today. Like, why couldn't they, if they're gonna introduce all these new Pokemon, and it's quite a few, I think it's around 30 evolutions and stuff, at least 15 to 20, including the Generation 3 evolutions as well, because this was the first generation to really do a whole line of new evolutions to older Pokemon like that. They did some in Generation 2, and I don't think they did any in Generation 3. There was no new EVs in Generation 3. So it's kind of like a Generation 2 and 4 thing, which they then started doing regional forms later on. But yeah, so I can understand why they wouldn't have the Generation 3 evolutions in Johto in Soul Silver, because those Pokemon don't belong there. But they don't have some of them in Sinnoh either. Like the Magnemite line. Magnemite into Magneton into Magnezone. And you can't get that in Diamond and Pearl. You can only get it in Platinum. And why would you only have the Pokemon easily available in one game when that is the game that it was introduced in? It's just, that's why everyone loves Platinum and not Diamond and Pearl, because Platinum just fixed so much. And yeah, Platinum really unified that generation, because if I was just playing Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which are really great games, if I was just playing it without being able to get my items from Sinnoh, it would be such a limiting experience, because so many Pokemon in that game you can't really battle with, like they're just not viable. You can't use them against a whole team of dragons. So like Farfetch'd, Delibird, what's that deer? Stantler, something like that. anything that doesn't evolve is just gonna get knocked out by like one Dragon Pulse. And a lot of those Pokemon do not have a wide move pool to choose from, but it is cool that you can use the weak Pokemon in the Pokéathlon, which was introduced in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. The Pokéathlon is so much fun. And yeah, it's great that it can use Pokemon that haven't evolved and the ones that are weak, etc. But I just wish I could use the really cool evolutions in the game. That it feels like that's where they should belong, right? Because they did allow some of them, like the Yanmega and the Mamoswine. But why are you leaving out all the rest? Especially when Kanto Pokemon are all over Johto. Nearly all of them are in Johto. And then the Johto Pokemon are left in Kanto. And yeah, it is interesting from like a lore perspective to think that maybe these Pokemon are naturally occurring in Kanto, like the Houndour line and the what's it called? I can only remember Sneasel. It's called Sneasel. The Sneasel line. But like the vibe of them to me just fits more with Johto. Yeah. So I'm gonna be playing some new Pokemon for the first time. And by Pokemon I mean the creatures. Like I've never battled with a Houndour before. So I'm gonna use that in my Soul Silver playthrough, getting a Horsey so that I can evolve it to Kingdra. Never used that before either. I evolved a Kingdra in X and Y because nearly everything is readily available in that game, and your team levels up so quickly in X and Y. So I remember I had a Kingdra, but I didn't use it because in the new game you want to use the new Pokemon, right? That's why Kingdra was a new Pokemon for Generation 2. It's like a Johto native in my mind. So I want to use it in Johto, in Heart Gold, Soul Silver. And because Claire uses it, that's her signature Pokemon. And Johto is like the land of dragons in a way, because Lance and Claire are from Johto. And there's that cave. The whole town is about dragons, really. That town where Claire is from. This is the Platinum cartridge. Unfortunately, my 3DS and my DS are definitely starting to get old and not functioning anymore. Like when I insert the game, it doesn't recognize it quite often. It'll just think that there's no game in the slot in both the DS and the 3DS. And it's not just a Platinum problem. Because I bought this online, I thought maybe it's just a problem of this being a fake or something, but it's happening on both devices and with every game. So this one is my diamond copy. So that's what I played when I was younger. And then eventually I got Soul Silver as well. But it didn't occur to me that I could trade between each other until I was like 19 years old. Because I never did trading and stuff. Like, I never even finished the games when I was younger. My experience was very limited, where I would usually get between like the 4th gym to the 8th gym, and then I would just stop because I would get distracted or something. So that's why, as an adult, I want to play these games and like fully explore the region, talk to everyone. I'm not going to complete the Pokédexes, because that's another thing that you are basically incapable of doing. You can't get the legendary Pokemon, which Pokemon has always been doing that. And I don't really care about the legendaries, so that's not a big problem for me personally. At least in Platinum and Diamond and Pearl, completing the Pokédex just means that you have seen them, you don't have to catch them. So like Darkrai and Cresselia are not even in the standard Pokédex, which is good, because I had to complete that in order to get to the battle frontier and then catch some Horsey and Seadra so that I can breed them and get the perfect Horsey to send over and play on Soul Silver. So that is what I've been doing this weekend. Just completing the Pokédex and then organizing my team. Like, I was going to have Yanma and Yanmega on my team. That's one of my all-time favorites. But the moves that it learns are not really good enough for playing. So even though it has good stats, it's not feasible for Soul Silver in particular, because in Soul Silver you don't level up much. You only reach like level 40 to 45 in time for the 8th gym and then the Elite Four, and that is very low. Like, that's about 10 levels below what it would be for other games. So that is something that I have to keep in mind. You know, I want to use these new Pokemon, but some of them do not get good moves, so they're not going to be good to use in the game. Like Yanmega. There was another one, Heracross as well. Like, Heracross does not get any bug moves. I don't think it even gets Bug Bite until like level 57 or something, and it gets Mega Horn. But you're not going to train it to level 57 in the time that you're playing the main game in Soul Silver. You would be lucky to get it to level 50 even. So that entire time, it doesn't have a good bug move for you to use. And that's not fair. So that's why I'm carefully picking Pokemon that I can get the right TMs for. I can evolve them completely, and they're the right typing to be using against the final gyms and the Elite Four. So Kingdra is a good choice because it can fight the dragons and it can also get an ice type move for that offensive power against dragons and flying types and grass types. Houndor, because I've never used it before. I'm also trading over Larvitar. The Larvitar line is another one that you can't use in the Johto games, even though it's a native Johto Pokemon introduced in Generation 2. You can't use it until... I don't think you can even catch it until the post-game, maybe. When you reach Mount Silver, that's either after you get the last gym badge or after you beat the Elite Four. So yeah, I'm gonna play with Larvitar as well. Hopefully I will be able to evolve that all the way, because it needs to get to like level 55 or even higher to become Tyranitar. So I probably won't get Tyranitar until just before I battle the Elite Four. But I'm trading it, so traded Pokemon have the EXP boost. So when I play Soul Silver, it's going to get a boost of experience for the whole game. So that should make it easier for it to level up. But I didn't do that for my other Pokemon, so Houndor and Horsey, and I think one more. Anyway, those ones, I'm trading them as eggs, which I didn't know that you could trade eggs, but you can. So I'm going to hatch them at the start of the game in Soul Silver and run around with my little baby Pokemon. It's going to be cute. And then they will belong to me and they won't have the experience boost. Because I think, for me, I like it to feel as natural and authentic as possible. And if you have them traded, it just doesn't feel like they're really yours, or that you're meant to have them at the start of the game. Because I want them to feel like starter Pokemon, basically. When I play Pokemon, I very rarely use the starters anymore. I like to get another one, usually a 3-stage evolution, and have that right at the start of the game and treat that like my starter Pokemon. I like the starters, it's just that I like the other ones just as much. Yeah, so I'm not using Cyndaquil or Chikorita or Totodile this time. So Larvitar, Horsey, Houndor, Mareep. So that's going to be early in the game too. 2 more. Who is it? I can check on my computer. Oh, Remoraid or Remoraid. Never used that one either. So, Remoraid, Horsey, and Houndor. I've never played with them before, so that's quite exciting for me to get to know them. And Remoraid is another one that is not available until the end of the game, just before the last gym, which is ridiculous because you catch like a level 10 to 20 Pokemon at the end of the game, and then you're expected to train it up like 40 levels. But there's no one to battle against, and the wild Pokemon don't give you good experience. So it's not feasible. It's a huge problem in Generation 2 and 4 that they should have fixed when they remade the game, but they didn't. And then the last one is Togepi. Yeah, so you get Togepi early in the game too, and then later in the game I will evolve it to Togekiss with the shiny stone. So Houndour egg, Larvitar already hatched, Horsey egg, and Remoraid egg, which evolves into Octillery. So doubling up on the water types, but usually I do a team of 5, not 6. But I don't know, I'm just doing 6 this time. So the number 6 slot is Kingdra. And that was going to be Yanmega before I realized that I can't give it Air Slash or Bug Buzz because they come so late in the game. And I don't want to use them only in Kanto in the post game. So the other ones I was looking at were Ambipom, Licky Licky, Honchcrow, Weavile, Mismagius, Gliscor. But I used Gliscor in my Platinum playthrough, so that's why I don't feel the need to use it again here in Johto. Yeah, I think that's a decent enough ramble, right? About my problems with Pokemon, these old games. But I'm excited to play Soul Silver and complete the game and go all through Kanto as well with my new team. Yeah, probably not the most relaxing video, but sometimes it's cool to just hang out, right? Yeah, thank you for watching, if you did. Yeah,